Huh? Wherever you want.
It all comes in.
Huh?
You get it all. Or are you mainly focusing on the screen?
Both.
It's kind of too bad you can't stream the screen.
I can. I just have to invite you to it, I think, which I just never bothered to. We can try.
Well, I'm okay with either way. I just kind of think about like how.
No, yeah, yeah, I don't have that level of video production. There's setup to be done with that. Participants.
What do I have to do to join Google Hangout?
That used to be how it works. Now I'm not so sure.
I'm on wireless, going through our VPN because I'll need to access a few websites.
It used to be I did this through Hangouts on Air, but then YouTube's actual stuff got easier to use. But that also means
part of it is can you even see how many people end up using recording and stuff?
Not.
Maybe I should tell you not to record. I had to argue with my executives about giving this talk.
Oh, really? Would you prefer I don't record? Because I don't have to. Because they don't.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I'm eligible for Social Security now. It's so good. It's like I'm gonna rage retire. No, we were cleared for open source at one time to put a whole project on GitHub.
Oh, nice.
And one of the arguments I used with the execs is I'm like, go to the JSMN website and look at the cover picture. I said, that's Alex standing there. If you look, that's our application on the screen. It's not like we haven't discussed this and showed this before. So they're like, oh, mother may I, and so I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm not showing you any keys to the kingdom and super secret sauce. It's just about how kind of like when I was at IBM, I always thought the reason they don't like open source is because they'd be embarrassed by somebody's code. So. All right, I'm gonna hit the head. I'm in no hurry to start. I don't know how much time this is going to take. I've not rehearsed it.
Okay.
I've rehearsed all kinds of pieces, so like I'll try and keep an eye on the time, but you might just.
If it's like 8:40 and you're still like clearly going on, I'll give you a notice. Okay. But otherwise, I'm not too.
I was gonna say because a lot of it's just touching on tech, but it's like anything anybody has questions on, let's do it. This has turned out so well. So.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
So. Okay. What was the name of that beer you said had like the 18%?
Dogfish has worldwide stout, and it's still available some places currently. Be prepared. It's like $11 a bottle, like a 12-ounce bottle.
That's very spendy.
It's like 3 beers in one. 18%, and it doesn't taste easy. So,
how do you the oak aged vanilla worldwide stout?
Is that what it is?
This one?
Yep, that's the bottle.
How do I find it? Fish Finder.
You might find it around here. I've looked at places like Lindale. Glendale Liquor is down there. They have a pretty good craft beer selection. What's the one on Lake Street? Fitz's Fizz something.
Total Wine in Osseo has it.
I think a lot more places have it. What's it?
If I go 50 miles.
There's a beer store on Franklin, I think it is.
Okay, so yeah, lots of places downtown.
Yeah. Zapp's, that's the one. Zapp's on there. France and 44 has a good craft beer selection. You might find it at a place, it's a little south for you, Blue Max. Then the other thing I've been finding a little bit of lately that is just so delicious is Boulevard Bag. It's kind of like my new favorite beer. It's cheaper than Dogfish.
Oh, whoops. Worldwide Stout at liquor stores. Yeah, it's only in Osseo and Monticello.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it one place in Rochester. I bought 4 of them a while back.
Wait, Osceo's not that far from me?
My wife can tell when I'm out of bounds with beer because it's like I ran craft beers, $50. So, yeah, well, I want to do cold tabs, I don't gamble. I don't ride a motorcycle anymore. Oh, I got the bug again. What are you riding?
Trent Bonneville,
Okay.
2013. It's fun.
Yeah, I got the bug again. I've been watching crap ton of YouTube videos.
I'm just like,
It's gonna hurt.
what did you use to ride it?
I found a bike just like the one my first bike, which was not that long ago, but it was last year they made the Honda Magna.
Okay.
With the 4 upswept megaphone pipes and the
Yeah.
Bob tank. I had one of those for a year, and then I traded it, and I got a CBR 600 too.
Okay.
And I had that for quite a few years. I moved on gravel, didn't run it, sold it. Now we're talking about moving off the gravel. And I'm like, okay, that's falling.
Honda makes some good bikes. I really wanted to get, I don't know if they're still making it. I think they only did it for 2 years in the US, the CB 1100.
Yeah,
The new version of it.
I would die on the leader bug.
Oh,
I mean, I bought my 600 when I was, was I already married 17 years or something? And I'm like, my wife's not going to divorce me over this. And so I bought it, took it home. Yeah, it's supposed to be in Ron.
oh,
Yeah, it's like, I bought a good helmet, $300 at the time. I bought a really nice show. It's like, how much did that cost her? I don't want to know. I said to her, you probably don't want to know. Her exact quote, and she denies it, is buy a cheaper helmet, get more life insurance.
Oh,
Literally
geez.
what she said.
oh, geez. oh,
So I've done the permission-y thing.
mm-hmm.
When I'm thinking about buying something, I'll be like, I'll drop the word, kind of looking at motorcycles online here and stuff. And she doesn't say no. Then you mention it like 3 or 4 more times, different times, and she doesn't
Yes.
object. It's like, okay, I telegraphed it, I'm doing it. So, but yeah, my daughter came in the house and said, "Whose motorcycle is that?" That's how my wife found out.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. I feel like ridership is down because I've been counting motorcycles to and from Rochester when I drove all the way up here from Pine Island. I think I saw 3 motorcycles on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been in Rochester and like I used to ride down there. But then it's
You're
like
good.
I always
Don't
had
worry.
to take something with me or like bring something back, and it's just okay.
Am I too late to get a bio break now, Will?
Huh? No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay.
That's my fault. I asked them to come.
I was suspicious. Because what do you know? Is it true we're in a different location than you were? So, I don't even know if you guys can do work or something around here, but in that same building? Yeah. Do you know who did you like work with when you were the last? Doesn't ring a bell.
Good deal. One more minute.
He wasn't ready, yeah?
Huh?
Said he wasn't ready, huh?
Huh? No, he just needed to go to the bathroom. He wasn't ready for me to announce that we're ready.
You guys all come to this every week? Or every month, sorry. Yeah.
I see a lot of familiar faces from the last couple of months.
My first time here.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine too.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for coming out. If you don't know, my name's Will. Been doing this for a while now. So we like to start things off by thanking our sponsors from Virtual for the space. They've been our hosts the most for a long time. Use them if you get sick. They're good. And Outer Base for our food and beverages today. Rob, would you like to say anything?
Just happy to be here. I mean, obviously, I hope that we can do this more in the future. But as a company, we're always looking for Angular talent, JavaScript talent in general, full stack developers, front end, really the full gambit. But right now, just one thing off the top of my head that I'm remembering is server-side node role, lead development role. I'm sure some of you probably got called about it at some point, but my cards are on the table over there. I'm always happy to talk to people. Hope to see you guys in the future.
Awesome. We'd love to have you. And I'm sorry, I did a really bad job introducing, but Outer Base is a consulting firm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. So yeah, they're very generous. We're looking for a sponsor for next month. So if your company uses Angular and you'd like to feed our starving developers at one of these things every month, you are welcome to do so. We would love it. And we're also looking for a speaker for next month. So if you have anything cool you want to talk about, that'd be good. We're probably going to meet on the 11th to avoid Labor Day. So it'll be the second Wednesday rather than the first Wednesday. And if nobody comes forward with a speaker, which I think is likely, we'll probably end up doing a hack night on the Prizatron because this is, I believe, the last month or last month, I don't remember, where Meetup's API keys are available for their V1 API, which is what the Prizatron runs against to pull our list of potential winners of our one-bit brains license. So probably work on that. So if you're interested in acting on something, we're probably going to be diving into Meetups, whatever their most recent API is. I think a lot. Is what we have to do. Meetup. Anybody else have announcements they'd like to make? Midwest JS is going on right now, so if you're not doing anything tomorrow and you wanted to go to a conference, I think you can still buy a ticket, but I don't know of any other JS or Angular specific related things coming up. Angular Denver was just this past week. Anybody hiring or looking for work? Besides Outer we are here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just looking.
Looking for work?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been talking.
Oh, great. Okay. Cool. Good. That's, networking is a part of what we do here, so that's good. Well, I don't have anything else then, so Dale, why don't you take it away?
All right. So yeah, the other night I took a look at trying to figure out where we left the last hack night.
A bit of a mess is the answer.
Yeah.
Angular
Yeah,
2? It was like probably 2-ish years ago
I don't think it was that long ago. You were here for that, right? When we had,
for the Prizatron.
Prizatron? Yeah. Didn't we break out into different rooms to do that?
I was here for that, and that was a while ago.
Is that long ago?
The background of it.
Yeah. 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 Gotta love to do it. It works really great.
The dude
on
abides.
the screen, regardless of the screen size. So, I learned some new things about Keynote, so bear with me here as I get going. I'm trying to do some fancy stuff. So, Will pushed me for a title, and so I wasn't feeling very generous to the Angular material folks, so I called it Paul Bud. And our transition to a mono repo. Anyhow, a little bit about me. I'm principal software engineer at Veritas LLC in Roseville. I work remotely. I work on their Veritas design language there. I've been, so I also like craft beer. You may have gathered, and I was hipster before hipster school, right? So back when I had hair and it was dark. Because I've been at this about 35 years so far. So spent a lot of time at IBM and a few other places since then. Done quite a few things. I'm fully recovered Java-holic. I've also written language called PLMI that most people have never heard of. Maybe some reps. A little bit of Lex in that. Look them up. I'm a modeler. I like my UML and my Booch and things like that. Model driven stuff. It's great stuff. And I'm also a process geek. Comes from my background in operating systems, so I've done full gamut. Very high ceremony, very formal to just crazy public stuff. Right? Anytime I go to a talk and stuff, I look at like how I learn, and so there's this old, I think it's a proverb. I have no idea. I heard it years ago. But I read and I forget, so I read a lot of stuff monthly. I can't tell you what it was about, right? I see and I remember, and this is usually the sweet spot for me in talks, whether I'm presenting or whether I'm going to them. It's like I'll see something, and it tells you it's possible. So I've seen it, and then later on I'll say, I want to be like that, or I want to do something like that. I know it's possible. And then of course I do and I understand. Most of the time, I'm a little bit like this. I just like to get in and crash the car. So, as getting my pair programming partners, I don't read necessarily all the error messages and stuff. I'll just crash the car, back it up, crash it again and stuff. So this presentation may work a little bit like that. What the talk is this is about our project team and our project and the pain points we have and how we sought relief through some things we saw at Angular and then meetups and stuff. And a few simple demonstrations, it's not super technical. And then some lessons we learned and maybe some inspiration for somebody else who's thinking about this tool set. It's not a live coding demo, and it's not a deep dive into any tech, but anything you guys see that's interesting, you say, wait a minute, that went fast, or what about this? Can you deal with that? Happy to open it up and see what we can find in the code. VDL Angular project itself is a component library brand new for Veritas. We derived it from Material Angular IO. It's not a fork, it was a clone at one time, and then we just kind of ripped parts of it out, kept large parts of it. Has a consumer website, we'll take a look at those pretty quickly. And the team that does it, we're called Team Undefined, and we're developers between 2 and 4 developers for the last maybe like 3 years that we've been working on. So we're underdone almost the whole time. So there is, let's see if this works. Shows there. So this is the Angular material site with the components that it has. And so we picked this as a base, and we're deriving from that. And so we're very similar in a lot of ways. We have a lot of the same components and things like that. See. So Why did we choose Angular material? Pre-made quality components. You know, the material team, we joke about them being the B team at Google sometimes because we find stuff in the code and it's like, what? But it gives us a good starting base for which we style it according to what our designers want. It gives us apps and testing and lots of build to it. So that's kind of a plus because it's pretty complex. And so on the client side, they give us apps and testing and lots of build to it, which is kind of a negative. I mean, what they've written, it's a ton of code, and it's very thorough, and it's slow, and there isn't much for buildability, right? So, you know, the things you get used to in Webpack, where it only builds as much as you need to get your app back up, doesn't happen for us in a legacy project. We have because we're small, it's not well understood by the team. Usually at any one time, there's one person who gets some of the, thank you. There's usually one person on the team who gets, you know, generally how the build stuff works, and the rest of this, it's just, you run NPM this and manage it. We have 3 apps in there. We'll take a little look at one here in a moment, but they have the web assets. The customer-facing one tells them how to use it. The dev app is our sandbox where it's really light and fast, and we can do what we want without CX constraints and design. And then there's an end-to-end app expressly for doing end-to-end testing. Material is moving now to Bazel. I don't know, has anyone heard of Bazel? You know, a little bit. Yeah, so they're moving to Bazel. Looks like it'll be good for them, but it looks like it'll be pain for us. And maybe it'll fix some of the speed with which they can build things. Maybe it won't, but it's a little bit of a concern. And the last con, which is also an advantage, is we periodically have to merge material code back into our library. The divergence from getting too far. It's generally a good thing. We get accessibility fixes, we get bug fixes, we get some new techniques, we get the new version of Angular. So there's a lot to do and merge across. All of that build tooling and stuff creates friction. And I've done some DevOps-y things in my life. I don't characterize myself as a DevOps person, but I've written and developed things usually out of necessity, because I've hit this inflection point where I get like super annoyed, and I'm going to go write some build tooling stuff to make my life easy. So just to get a sense of what this is, let's see. Here I fired off a build, and let's see if I can find the most that didn't change. But for whatever reason, the new library, the new web asset front end is building on the left side. And for whatever reason, it decided to take a 20-second nap of the old VDL Angular one. Took off running right away. But it's like, no worries, because we're here. And I'm going to fast forward it to about here. So I think at about a minute, there, we're up and running. The website is now served. This guy over here, he's still thinking about it. So if you speed him up, and he's still there, right? It isn't until we get out here to about 30 seconds shy of the end. So he finally is done, right? And this was the real pain you feel. I mean, this is like definitely kill it, you know, kind of things. When you make a code change and you hit save, and you've got this one to see what's come up so you can check the work and stuff. And another constraint with the 3 apps is you can only run one at a time. So because they share the same build space, they build it in this directory, using Webpack, module stuff. It's pretty painful. So how did we come to start fixing this? Like, you guys remember the April 2018 meetup? Remember that? We were down at Merrill Corporation.
At Merrill, yes.
Yeah, at Merrill, right? So we were down at Merrill, and Victor Sapkin and Jeff Cross came and talked, and we sat through that whole thing, and I talked to Victor, and I was like, there's something here. I want this, right? So this was my I see it, I remember kind of moment. And early this year, we added 2 devs to the team, so we got a little breathing space, right? So it's time to think a little bit more. And there was a little waypoint, February 2019, who came by, Jesse Sanders and Cypress, right? So that was a good talk. And, you know, that was another thing that it's like, yep, I see this, I want that. So we played with that. And, you know, around April or so, I started a little skunk works project after. You know, it's something I was doing for myself just to say, can I recreate what we have, you know, the NX tool and stuff. And it turned out pretty much good. And May we went official live, we got sanctioned by our PO, and we started full-time work on it. And then now here in July, we're nearly ready to go. We still have some shortcomings, there's still some loose ends and stuff. But the Skunkworks part was kind of an army of one. That was me in the evenings and weekends, and we wrote a couple apps. We leveraged the NGX tools to do the generation of new components and things, and then we transplanted functionality. We didn't want to throw it away from scratch, but we also didn't want to bring all the ugliness in terms of if you look inside some of the material stuff, it's the sort of thing where you've got one file and you've got 6 directives and 3 components in it. And now how do you find code and stuff? And so we like the generated model and the opinions there because it brings us you know, one file per component, one file per directive, one file per service and stuff. So it helps us to find the code. John Papa called it back in the end of the JS series. So I wrote some tests here in Just and Cypress, really got to like it. And then I wrote a new component for work that I started showing it to the team. And they were like, hey, what is this you doing? When can you get something? So started taking by. I had some slides and a lot of words in here on process about how to do Kanban and review PRs and stuff like that. I replaced it with just a picture. We pretty much just went full cowboy for 8 weeks. It was like stand up literally where one chance to self-organize. We got the punch list in a single viewer ticket, and we divided and shifted stuff around for most of the 7 weeks to get this done. And the deliverables we got a 2-month window. We had 2 months to deliver applications, the examples, component libraries, unit testing, all the functionality we had before, but put it in the new library and make it faster. So within the applications, we wrote 2 new apps, and we'll have a look at those. Again, NGG from scratch, right? So no kitchen sink components, everything's nice and clean naming, and we took the linking practices for anything that wasn't in the library, and we were able to change some prefixes, and this is here we go. So within the app, do people here use Angular CLI? NX? Okay. So when you generate an app, then one of the things that Narwhal will do, the NX tooling does, is it gives you both an app and an end-to-end. And so the basic components of building for an NX project is apps and libraries. So libraries that use components, stuff like that. In our case, it was almost all components. We had some kind of mega components in there, but it generates the app, and you know, we went through and we created this. One of the things that happens is when we run these, the NX toolset brings us a bunch of really good stuff. So like, if we serve this, we get the web asset. This runs pretty quickly, and I'm not going to necessarily wait for these to come up, but you can also. But these are 2 apps, so they'll come up pretty fast, and then we'll be able to work with them. And the changes cycle very quickly. So come back back over here. There we go. So we got the apps, and the examples was another huge thing that we had. So when we look at these two apps, I don't know about that, because they should be up here by now. So if we bring these up, web asset comes up, and the other one is web app. So if we go in here and look at these components, breadcrumb, we have, this is one of our examples. So each one of these pages has an example. And what we were able to do was go into these. Now they have the exact same example. And so instead of existing in 3 places, we have just one example. Which was a huge savings for us. A huge savings for us for the examples library. But we also changed prefixes. That was another thing we did. Everything in our whole repo before had a prefix on it going to DDL, which made it hard to necessarily know where something came from. So when we came to this library, we started using VX for anything that came on the examples component, and WA and DA, and then DL for our library component. This was part of the problem. If you look, you'll see the files all have different names. And if you go inside of them, there's like little subtle differences that make them difficult to keep in sync. So generally speaking, they're like 95, 5 degrees of difference between them. But each time you change, like module IDs, for example, some of our components had to have module IDs depending on, I think it was the web asset one that needed it, that app didn't have it. So now we couldn't use the same thing. So we were able to replace this with the same source on both sides, and then just with one instance of it with the component. So within the examples here, we basically have a lib that is the examples, and now we have Is that visible? Can you see that? So we built one module, we consolidated all of these. And then this really helped us get the names right. Someone like table. So then we're able to get a high degree of consistency with the table names and components. And you'll see here, these are the generated names that you get out of the GPU. I haven't used Angular CLI so much, so I'm a little hesitant to say it's just like Angular CLI, but I think it is, because now we're doing a layer on top of it. So this has been just a huge help in creating consistent components and speeding up the development. Now we can load them up fast when we change them. I'm running both applications right now. I can also run unit tests and run tests, and we could probably run something else beside it without any issues in terms of performance. Mouse can switch. At the end of this, I'll do it. So unit testing was the other thing we had to do. In the proof of concept, we wrote Jest. Are you guys using Jest? It's like I found their TDD to be much better than the Pharma stuff. We really wanted to just, but we had to sell it to Palma because basically Palma took like an hour or so to set up and get the run and all of our components and stuff. So it was really hard to argue with playing it all the time, but something shiny. But we still got a better experience on it. And I do believe there's a way we'll be able to mix and match at some point. But if we look at how we build, or how we run the test, we have one command in here, it's test with sh, and and basically all this is doing is running the ng test command for each of the individual components. So it builds it out. So it's pretty slick to do. Before, if we wanted to run and test only one component, we have to go into like the test and do an F describe and say, only run this one. Test and F describe the one that we wanted and did not edit. Or we had to edit the list of test cases that was going to find. And now this step becomes something more like if I want to test button, I can do another test button. And so now this will fire up the timer and run pretty quickly on the component basis. You can put a watch option on this for when you want to TBD and work with just the one component, which is pretty handy. You know, spend a lot of time like that and do something you want to test up and see it run and cycle. Besides the watch, there's also the code coverage. So built in, before in our old project, we had to start with install this number, configure Karma, you know, get all this wiring right and stuff around code coverage. Getting our code coverage reports was really easy. So it's just turning on the coverage. So if I look at this, we had in our previous website, when we run it in the build, we keep all the code coverage. So with every build that we deploy, users can go and see the code coverage views and see what kind of user reviews, all of our branches build. And in the new one, we have it. It's not quite as nice, but it took a lot less to set up. So if you go here, it's the same thing. So we have our partner. We just built it and fell into a lot. Karma coverage, you know, QRs that work, turn this on to the code coverage. It works pretty straightforward. So that covered in the end for us. And we're still probably going to go back and try to figure out because Just's TBD view of it was a little better. When it came to end, then we had a choice between the protractor and the cycle. Protractor we had that we knew, and frankly weren't too fond of, versus the Cypress like Jesse downloaded, and if you try to do Cypress, anybody do Cypress. So we found anybody right in there. Okay, that explains why Cypress is. Anyhow, we had the two choices, and so we kind of did a team sort of like, let's evaluate this and say what do we like. So Protractor does a couple of important things to us, like for keyboard navigation and things, tab keys and things like that, for accessibility testing. It can run the axe tests and things like that, and it supports multiple browsers. So, where we try and get to the browser stack at one time. If we didn't achieve escape velocity on that. The downsides we had are none of us really liked to write it as much. It was targeted to a specific app, so if we kept the test, we'd have to bring the app across, or we'd have to take a new app and write the test and Protractor to do it. And we weren't that excited about that. And because of the slowness and how long it takes the cycle on the build, it doesn't lend itself well to doing really maybe development of it. So when we looked at the Cypress and said, you know, if you do these things, you know, it's fast enough for the DVD, it's got the debugging through time travel, you'll take a little peek at that. You can do the same axe testing integrated with that, and we found it much easier to write Cypress tests. Oops. Downsides are Chromium only. So, you know, Jesse called that out. And I think Internet Explorer is going to use Chrome at some point in time. So we figured our exposure and our risk going forward can somehow be mitigated in the future. And it doesn't do Firefox, but like when Jesse talked about it, there's a lot of discussion around Cypress is do you get that much return on running that same task every day you can? And we determined we were better off. If we like to write tests and write more of them, we get more value out of that than we get with running the same tests and the data we write in 10 places. Focus only controls. You can only put Cypress focus on things like using inputs and things like that. For our component library, this is a little bit of a challenge because we have certain DOM elements that get focus and get a style for it, stuff like that. That's a gap in our testing at the moment. So, we may still have to go back and revisit that. And you can't test things like cover style. You really need the mouse moves for it. Yeah, so you can't put the mouse over something to test the other class. So a little bit of a gap. So where we ended up landing was we said it can be either or. We're going to go with Cypress to start. And if a lot of those things we think we need to add, we'll go back and add a prototype test. Because when you generate it, you can generate another end-to-end test app and have it run the other one. So this is our test app for the web asset. So they look very, is that big enough? It's very Karma-like. It has the describe blocks, the before each and thing, but it gets a lot easier to pull stuff out. And for the most part, we don't need any sweeps, any weights. We haven't had to build any weights. It's just pretty much all built in. This is a test case that runs our customer-facing app and make sure all the links work and all the examples. This one, I think I'm going to modify this one so it doesn't run quite so much here. This will only run the tasks here. And then I also have to change the Cypress JSON. We turn the number of tests kept in memory gets set to 0, so we run in the drum build and CICD. It doesn't keep any data from the test runs, but you really do kind of want this stuff when you run locally. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And NG has a lot of built-in commands for this type of stuff. So this is an NG. And we're going to do a watch on it so it stays up. Normally in CICD we don't run a watch because we post that. So we time out and then I think I have it again. So this will run a server, so if I'm already doing an NG serve on a web asset, this will conflict with that. So, but the cool thing is this is going to fire one up. So if I were up here, I could still do the type of random number spaces between 1 and 4.
Yuck.
Yeah. So this fired up the server, right? So now if I go over here and I want to look at the local web asset, it'll load the web asset in the background. This is the Cypress window that's fired up. So this is our end-to-end testing. This is one of the things that's really different. Our protractor was literally all command line, a bunch of dots and things like that. And you see the browser flash button, you couldn't do much with it. But this one, if we fire this off, it's going to open up the Chrome instance and it's going to fire up and run these tests and stuff. And you get to see how it runs here. And first of all, and then it fires right through. As soon as it's done, you can explore a little bit of it, time traveling things. This is where we decided we really liked it, is for a step like this, it'll show the depth of the side nav there that's shaded in gray. Then we're getting the category names. Then we're looking for the one that says language. And then we do the click and the word out. So it becomes so much easier to figure out what's wrong in your test and stuff when you're doing it this way. The other nice thing about it is you've got the same server up over here, so you can bring up your dev tools and start to do the document, things like that kind of thing. Figure out why your selectors are getting the way they are that you're looking for. Does the time travel so you can see before and after on the click. And there's some other stuff in the Cypress that it also does that brings out for each of these steps. You can see additional information in the console, what's going on. Right? So a ton of stuff to help you isolate and just write your test faster. And the other part of it is because it is so fast, it's let's describe that and save it. And finally get back. It's kind of like already running. So it's very, very fast, which means we're writing on the or at least not too. So that's what the Cypress was. Nearly everything we've got, or everything that we got out of this effort was about going high speed, low drag. So then we got to the really hard part, which is publishing. And by publishing, I mean building all these components, sending them to NVM.js. And so what we went for out of the goals to start with was we wanted our clients who are already consuming our library and our components to be able to take the new library and not really be too aware of the technology that went behind the scenes, and just basically with a few tweaks, put it into their application and see real change. Before we start changing the functionality and stuff. So we wanted to have single NPM solving model, need to be tree shapeable, and we did want the multiple import styles because clients had that. It turned out that one was a little tough. But what I mean by that is that we ship a VDL icon module in the VDL Angular icon that we install. And it used to be they could install it from the top level of the module. And we found some things where Angular, I think, is moving away from that. It's starting to be. So they're going to sunset that. So we said, well, they're going to give us cover. We're not going to do that. So we don't want to do the first one. So that was one of the impacts users to consumers would have to do this change how we do that. Publishing in round one was a spike on what we knew was there was a whole bunch of Gulp in the PDF and required Gulp, and we were resisting putting Gulp in the main project. That was one of the goals too to start is no Gulp. And, so everything that came up with to use Gulp, we wanted to say, let's see if we can avoid it. Problem was it had a really steep learning curve, and some of the complexity and things for us to understand once we got through doing this packaging and publish, we understood better why there was so much complexity and doing both stuff. So the pivot was to NG packaging. And Has anybody used NG Packager? Yeah. It's like magic. Except, so we went a couple of rounds on the NG Packager. We pivoted to that. We built a big mono module out of all of the components. We built the VDL Angular module, and it had all the components in it, but that wasn't really good. It's like doesn't support appreciate stuff, right? So it's like there's got to be another path through this. So this was like probably 2 weeks of a couple of us trying everything we could figure out. Round 3 was like a 3 or 4 knockdown round, where we tried to build an overarching module. We figured out how to build all of our components in their dependency order. We tried something in the NG Packager called secondary entry points, which was like kind of this close to working. But the problem was it didn't take dependencies into account. So you can tell we have a VDL icon, and so a VDL icon button will use a VDL icon. Thank you. We'll do a VDL icon button and stuff. So it didn't the secondary entry points didn't do a good job of dependencies. We couldn't find it. So we kind of went back to 2 where we figured out how to build them in sequence. And we finally did succeed using NG Packager. And we had to build the components in sequence. And we ditched the overarching module. We maybe could have figured it out, but it's going to be a day and a half on. It's like, no, time box. We're done. This will work. They can change that. It's turned out to be pretty easy once you see it. But in the process of building this, NX comes with an npm run depth graph that will build you a graph of your applications and your libs inside your project. So you can have multiple applications, web shared every which way, and all this stuff. And it'll build a depth graph. And so it's really got some cool features that fortunately we don't get to use, but it'll let you do things like if I've got a code change in a component and, like Avatar, I can just run the affected test for like VDL Angular and probably web asset and that kind of thing. Right? So it'll figure out where the depths are and what it needs to run. Unfortunately, the VDL Angular you see there on kind of the middle right explodes into this. Once we figured, I'm sorry, there's no way to make this bigger, but this is literally a depth graph that we had to disentangle, and without this depth graph, it would have taken us a long time to figure out how to do it. It's broken now. It's just one line when you run it, however the stuff builds. And so building that NG Packager turned out to be almost kind of magical like that. Building with NG Packager is inside your Angular JSON is a standard called architect and build, and basically the magic is saying you can use we're going to use the NG Packager build and give it a TS config in the project. So it basically needs some things different from when you run the web package of your client. So that was pretty simple, and it leverages like a TS config. So one of the problems we had in building with building on in sequence was for anything that has a dependency on another module, you have to have a version of that module in the disk. And so for each of these components, this is how we pointed it at the disk directory. So if it had a dependency on another component, you could get it out of disk. If you follow the config JSON up and over here, then we find here's all the paths that the IDE uses to resolve those same files. So this is how we can resolve it and put through this. So the package JSON, and this is some code that we found in a sample project given to NG Packager, and it was, I'd never seen any adult script like this, and I said, oh, this is magic. And so basically what they're doing is saying you can run build list, and it's going to run these and in typical Dale practice the power sequence, I don't even know what that is, but I've never looked it up. I assume it sorts everything, everything that starts with, everything that starts with like this, right? So then E0 is our lowest level, right? So it builds that first layer of components, then builds the second, then builds the third, then it builds the fourth, so on up. And it puts them all in this. And this is kind of an interesting thing in geometry. I think it's the first thing I got really wrong that spans the whole, all four CPUs. And then you run, so I'm going to build 0, and I'm also going to bring up activity monitoring just because the first time I ran it, it was kind of nuts when I built everything. Is you'll see this fire off, and probably pretty shortly here we'll see like 4 parallel node processes running. Right here, 100%. So when you run the full build, it runs pretty fast, but it really leverages everything. But this build all goes level 0 things. And if we were to look at what it's built, and this is the some of the magic is within the disk, it built, that fast. It's building for UMD bundles, the cousins, source, we got our GPS files, just everything down in there for just a few configurations. Any amount of roll up and stuff that went in the previous material stuff to build that. So we basically run the build, runs all these things. We do a few little things at the end in the last level. We build a few different files, copy a few more things in there, so it's ready for the NPM path. Really pretty sick. I meant to make a movie of this so you can see it without reading, but it does run really fast, and you can, I'm just really happy. I can go quick, faster than anything else to write outside. NG package JSON is the one other file that's in there. Yes. Find it. Basically, the things we're doing in here, each of these, they're almost all the same. We give it the UMD ID, we tell it where to put it. So this is where we can orchestrate where it goes in our disk directory. And we found we had to put some additional UMD model IDs or UMD universal and picture. UMD. Anyway. We found we had to put these IDs in there, or we get these funky warnings from the build. So it would do the right thing, it would test the right thing, but we took the guess ourselves. So it's pretty mechanical, so we got it back to build really quickly. So I won't say too much about our CRCD other than we do it on a line build. It was free for a while, now they're charging for it. Now our operations people are doing it. I think it will be slower. The thing we liked about Drone works off of a YAML kind of file. So pretty cool thing is you can run these builds locally, you can run them in the server, but it lets us swap out what version of Node and things we have. We've had some problems with Node latest. We've been trying to treat it as a line, so the CICD always runs with the data list node until it doesn't, and then you have to roll it back. But then we don't have to move ourselves yet to see what's going on. And all it does is leverage the same commands we can run off the command. So, like I've heard Travis characterized for GitHub and stuff as being DevOps for developers. This is pretty close to that. And pretty damn fast for it. And we're pretty much in full control. So through the magic of our DevOps people, every time you do a commit on a branch, it builds a new deploy. So when the PRs go up, I can go and look at the running version of the code to see it in action without having to code it on and build it, and then I can redo the PR. So this was our last piece we had to get in place. And so we still have some work left. We have to look inside and look at the modules, for example. If you go inside this, yeah, we find our copyrights are in there, and frequently there's more than one copyright. NG Packager used to support an option to like take out all the redundant comments or take out all the comments and then just insert a single copyright. And that got removed at some point. And I think in the next version coming up with the NG update, I think we're going to get that functionality back. So we're building more stuff in here than we need, but we can get back to it is relatively small. Screenshot testing. We have screenshot testing in progress with Cypress, where we can run it, we can black out parts of the screen. Cypress will let you black out parts of the screen, we set the screen size, then we capture a screen snap of it, and we use a screen buffering utility. So for us as a component library, we care about subtle changes in color or moving pixels around in position and stuff that we want to change the component library. Kind of bound to running through CSS. We got some other minor things to do, but by and large, we've made the transition from our old project to the new. And things that we figured out here is we're fans of the generators and the naming conventions that they do. Keep that. Some of that in terms of naming conventions depends on how people find files. Like you probably all work with somebody who maybe the person who navigates down to the hierarchy to find the file you want, and then other people do the quick search and do the type part of the name and find it. The expanded names are really handy. The packager for us was pretty magical. I think for anyone else who's writing components they want to publish that do not have dependencies on other components in the library, we'll have no problem with that. But for us, we have some special challenge because of the dependencies. And the thing we found ourselves doing is we went through this too, is trying to fix things that already done previously. Writing the roll up takes too long to figure out that as well. We learned something from it, but it was truly a gotten us into trouble versus how much the tools have moved into since inception. And we got out at the end of the project with no about the project. We were able to, the old material did a lot of stuff, like it had to process the CSS and build it, and ground by default, like over here, and use more bulk to pick them up and do something else with them. We got away from all of that. So, this is the solution. Does everyone know what the Guardian knot is?
No.
Alexander the Great, and part somewhere, and had this giant knot that needed to be untangled and stuff. And, you know, you had to untie in order to in and stuff, and these reporters were totally sorting out. And so for us, the sword was NX, and rather than the big and not really built and stuff that we had to try and fix to get going faster, is we were able to just cut through it with NX. So that's as much as I have. Is there anything anyone else would like to see in this that I could go back, but I don't want to be too fast to get through?
So when we ran those build commands, were each of those like building separate projects, or were they building just like certain portions of the same project?
Let's define project.
So like something with the package JSON would be like a project, like something with dependency.
Each one of
Is that
those-
like a single unit? Because like so under that avatar directory, where was that page as far as?
Well, so these are our components. So they all carry a certain amount of boilerplate, carry a lot more boilerplate than we used to.
So like each component is like its own deployable unit in a way.
It's its own Angular module, right? So we build them individually so that they can the uptake can be individual features. It does mean we have a lot of boilerplate. So like TS configs are actually, there needs to be one, but they're all the same. TS config lib basically has this. It has an output for it. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same. Right? Specs, I think, are all the same, with the exception of the output output from that. TS lints, it's a boilerplate. You just go up to TS lint. So yeah, they're.
So like if you wanted to use say like just autocomplete or just avatar, would that be like a single dependency that you would add in package JSON like for your project?
Oh yeah, if you were a
Is that kind of how
consumer,
it works?
yeah, if you were
Okay.
Zeta 5,
Yep.
yeah, I wanted to do that.
No, I did.
I set an alarm for 8 o'clock, so I knew to pause and wait for the screen.
You got your, it is 8 o'clock
Yeah.
robot voice, but.
I'm sorry, back to the question was, yes, you would import the single module. So if we look at what it builds, this content is what gets installed. So we install npm install @vdlx/vdl angular, and then it brings each of these, and then that's where in a particular application, let's look at an example. Examples are their own component. So I've got an example. Let's see if example project. Okay, I'm not here because this is all internal. I don't even know if I think our apps have to do it. So yeah, they're doing like this. So this is pulling in our data table module. And if that's all you wanted, this is the only import. Because you use everything, we import everything. I think our client imported everything. It probably shouldn't be. Probably just, copy paste. But yeah, it's building all this. So, and that's kind of random. Roll up to build Manthei. Very simple, but then you have call because every one of the distribution pieces that have to work. Every one of those was another roll up. So each of these that call is like another roll up. You can see you get a baseline, try to build it. There's another thing in the English that's kind of interesting. have that, so, a bunch of stuff that was a lot more work that we had to do at first. And another example of trying to solve problems that we previously did was inside of our index HTML was, you had to load a bunch of different random scripts and things, the different parts of the project and stuff. And so ENX supports this kind of thing where these are all the scripts we need, and we just put them in this stanza. And then when it loads up the launch, it goes and reads all those, concatenates them out together, and puts them in the and we were trying to do a whole bunch of stuff with HTML. Turned out it worked. Some other stuff that we were able to do, style preprocessor options. If I look for we found we were able to start doing this kind of thing, where normally we were doing like over to some file to get this theming palette, but we were able to shorten that by saying, I just wanted to say it's theming palette, and then in the Angular.json, we gave it some include tags. So now our source code got a lot simpler, and we buried that complexity in here, and that puts it all into account when you get it there. Because this is all in the so, most of the rest of the stuff we kept pretty boilerplate. And when you think about how much code we had, there's like a lift and shift for the component category. And then we had to massage the direct instruction. If we look at kind of the structure that it was, we ran into source, and so these were our three apps, and then within the lib, we had this. So these were in essence a little simpler. We didn't have as much stuff, and all of the complexity was in the adult tool. Both build this much on adult to build the CSS. That help?
Yeah, I have actually one other question. So at Virtual, we've kind of been looking into structuring our front-end projects in this way, where we have like one workspace for all of our applications and all of our libraries. And one of the things we were kind of hesitant towards with this approach is there seems to be a single package JSON for the entire Angular workspace. And so, like, if you get in a situation where, say, you have one application which you want to update to a new major version of someone, for instance, that's going to cascade to everything in that workspace because there's only one package JSON. Is that kind of by design that, like, if you want to do a major upgrade like that, you have to fix everything at once? Or is there like a way to kind of have a little more isolation between these things?
A couple thoughts on that. Yeah. First one, I'll come back to a little bit, but the other one is, I think at Google scale, they partly leverage that graph kind of thing to say, I'm changing this, and all my apps are in here, and so they're all going to change the same. And I think it's because they get it live on the web, right? Whereas if you've got an app that you're deploying something, now you've got to fix it on that.
So it is kind of the mentality that you have this sort of approach, you need it's like an
Is there a similar, and again, you've got different requirements, but I think that built in kind of like everything.
Okay, so it's like in our specific case, we were upgrading from Bootstrap 3 to 4 in one of our applications, and it's been kind of projects. And if we were to like merge all of our applications in one space, we would have another application we would then have to each for. And that would take a lot of time.
Whereas you don't want to actually have to.
Well, we
because
would
there's no need.
We would prefer to not have to update that other application at the same time, because it's not as high priority.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of saying, like, is there a way to have a little more isolation in these updates?
And I mentioned that, yeah, and I don't know if you read about that. I don't know.
I've
why.
seen it briefly, I haven't looked into it.
I always hear it mentioned in Monorepo space, and I think somehow they like share and don't share package JSON. For us, it's very good because we're about to merge the material and update maybe, so it's like across our time, everything goes up. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I'm just looking it up. I've never heard of it until you mentioned it just now. But LERNA for those wondering. I had to try spelling a couple times. It looks like there's a like top level package.json as well as individual package.jsons per package that you can kind of play and tweak around with.
Yeah, there's always somebody from Lorna and I think they were probably first.
Quite the Hydra logo.
But it's one of those challenges. It's like each new technology builds on another one, and so it's hard for them to do it works when you build a new one. You know, solid. I've read in parts of things that like NX is looking at the support, I think they're claiming the component Angular React. I've seen discussions also being replaced really within Linux so you can have new nodes over it. There's a lot of advantages to having it all in one. Yeah, it was a long time coming since Frost and stuff.
I was very impressed with that presentation they gave. That was very cool.
Oh, it went by so fast.
I know
It's like,
for the
holy shit, did you
well,
see
it was
that?
3 of them, and it was like half an hour each for Jeff, for Victor, and Tom.
No. You're really only talking about Victor was so hard.
I wasn't familiar with him prior to that point. He was new to their team, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like, boy, I want this. But it does.
They didn't actually mention he'd be speaking until like when I got there too. So
Yeah.
the third guy, whatever his name was, I forgot. I feel really bad not knowing his name.
I was so kind of jealous. It's like, man, I want to go bring these guys in to help themselves in their projects. Sadly, we don't do that's all.
Mhm.
Rule number one.
Yep, rule number 1.
Same fam.
Yeah, you can have these all the- Anything else? Find me on the Slack for the Angular. If you have any follow-up questions, you want to see something.
Yeah, Thomas Burleson. That was him.
I'm stumbling pages.
And on Twitter. You tweet very much, Dale? I don't see many tweets from you.
Do you see any?
Good question.
I maybe did 1 or 2 tweets.
You have 15 lifetime tweets. The last one was from September of 2016.
Probably somewhere in there.
You were complaining to Logitech.
I was like, this is stupid.
All right, cool. Well, thanks very much for sharing this, Dale. All right. I have concluded that Meetup has